Hello and welcome to MahendraGuru.com's official YouTube channel, where I am back again with a new session of End of Confusion. Ending your confusions of the subject reasoning, and this video is actually exclusively based for banking and SSC examinations both. Yes, because the topic which I have taken today for you all is statement and assumptions. On a huge demand of candidates, the demand for logical reasoning has made us to deliver a lecture today or a session to be conducted for ending of confusions on the basic topic statement and assumptions. So today I am going to discuss some points, some examples and some parts of this topic which you have to remember or you have to learn how to solve this topic easily and quickly. Moving further with that, but yes, before that, the subscription of our YouTube channel. If you have already subscribed our YouTube channel, thank you so much from whole Mahendras team. But if you haven't subscribed yet, just click on this subscription button and become a subscribed viewer. Because becoming a subscribed viewer will only help you to get all the videos, updates, notifications and latest whatever we provide to you all in an easy access way. So do not forget to click this button for the subscription part. Now moving further with the topic, but first of all we'll check what is actually a statement about. Because as I have taken a topic today, that is statement and assumptions, whole topic is based on basically a statement. And whenever I talk about a statement, whenever I say about a statement, a question arises in my mind. What is actually a statement? A statement is basically any line. Yes, it can be said any line, heard, asked, answered, or I can say whatever I am speaking right now, whatever you all are listening right now, that all lines, that all sentences would be termed as statement. That means if we talk about or if we ask a question like this, what is basically a statement? So statement can be any line, said, heard, asked or answered, anything. But most of the time in these questions, when we talk about the questions based on statement and assumptions, most of the time we have just seen questions use advices, notice, information, request, order, and likewise anything. That means the statements used in the questions for the topic statement and assumptions can be any advice, notice, information, request, order, and likewise whatever comes in your mind which you want to deliver to somebody else. That all sentences, that all lines, that all basic property lines are used in the questions for the topic statement and assumptions. Now if we talk about what is the thinking beyond keeping these types of statement to find assumptions? Because when we say I am solving a question for statement and assumptions, I read over a statement and most of the times, as I have said you all, it can be a notice, it can be an advice, it can be a request, anything. So now if my question comes here, what is the thinking basically beyond keeping these types of statements to find the assumptions? That means why I am finding an assumption for advice, why I am finding an assumption for any request, or why any information demands to find its assumption. This question definitely rises in your mind, and if it is not rising in your mind, that means you are not paying attention to whatever I am saying. So just keep paying the attention, because if you miss a single word of this session, you will be in a great loss. Because this topic, this part of reasoning section basically demands your concentration. Concentration, paying attention part, or I would say whatever you have understood logically are framed in these questions only. So now talking about the answer for this, what is the thinking basically? See, whenever I say I am giving any advice to you, let's say my advice is keep preparing for the examination as it will definitely give you a fruitful result. Now this is my advice basically, or you can say any suggestion what I am giving to you all, keep practicing. Yes, definitely there must be a thinking behind this statement. Now if I talk about an order, if I have said keep watching my video, keep watching the sessions which I am providing, definitely it's not an order for you all, but if we take it as in that way, consider it as an order. Why I am ordering? To watch my video, to watch my session. Because I want you all to pay attention, to view the sessions and so on. But if I say, take it as a request also. Keep watching my video, keep watching my session. It can be an order also, it can be a request also. And both these things are led behind by a thinking basically. You should view whatever I am saying. So that means it is an order, it is an advice, it is a request, anything. The kept behind part is a thinking, a thought. That is why orders, advice, information, instructions are used or led for the part of assumptions. Now moving further, question in your mind would be have arisen till now, what are assumptions? I am talking about the session of statement and assumptions. I am taking the topic today, statement and assumptions. So basically if we look upon what are assumptions. Now assumptions, it is sounding like something assuming. Assumed part. Definitely yes, it can be assumed. We can be assuming something. Definitely. But if I talk about basically what are basic assumption? Yeah, how can you define an assumption? What can be said to be an assumption? So now looking over, assumptions are speakers or action performers' thought. Nothing beyond that. Assumptions are basically speakers or action performers' thought. That means if I am a speaker, I am performing any action, so the thought in my mind is called basically assumptions. That means see, two parts are there whenever we consider any statement. Part A, part B. Now what is part A and part B? Part A stands for the person who is speaking the assumption, speaking the statement or the part, whatever it is being delivered. And the person listening from the other side, understanding the things are kept at part B. So I would say statement and assumptions are the topic based on part A. That means from the speaker's prospect. Whatever you are listening, you will be leading to a conclusion. Whatever you have listened, whatever you have heard, you will be leading with the part conclusion. Whatever you have understood with that part, that means you are summarizing it. But if I am talking about assumptions, it is not your property. Your property means listener's property. It is basically a whole soul belonging for speaker. That is why we say assumptions are speakers or action performers' thought. Now thought is a complicated word because you cannot catch anyone's thought. What is in my mind, you cannot know. What is in your mind, I would not be knowing. But we can assume. Now here comes the word assume. We are assuming assumptions. Be very clear with it. Assumptions does not mean assuming. But we are assuming assumptions. Understood with the part? So sitting there, you just have to assume what can be, what may be the assumption for any given statement or any spoken line. Clear with it? Moving further with that. Now assumptions can be probable or definite, I would say. These two parts I am taking first. Assumptions can be probable, assumptions can be definite. That means whatever is in my mind, you can predict. And that prediction part would be termed as probable because you are not sure for it. But if I say definite, yes, you are sure. This is only the assumption. This is only the thought which was in speaker's mind. Taking an example, If I say I am going to have food, I will be eating food. Assumption behind this would be definite. I am hungry, that is why I am eating food. But if I say mobiles are prohibited in this area, mobiles are prohibited or usage of mobiles are restricted in this area, many assumptions can be led over this. Might be they were using mobile for a long time, or their work would be getting emphasized by this. Or I would say hampering of work would have noticed. Or usage of mobiles has to be controlled. XYZ, any assumption can be led over here. So if I say this is a probable assumption, so am I wrong here? No. Because probable assumptions, predicted assumptions or probability showing assumptions does not make any fixed sense. No, this would only be a thought. But statements like having fact conditions, eating, drinking, anything, then it is showing a definite assumption. I am drinking water because I am thirsty. This is a reason also. Yes, that means we can say assumptions are basically led by reasons only. So if we count about assumptions, assumptions can be probable, assumptions can be definite. Now this middle point which is hiding behind, desired effect based. Now desired effect based means what? By the word meaning, if we count about desired effect based, that means I am desiring any conclusion, so I am keeping it in mind. Likewise, I am writing an answer paper. For any question, any examination, I am writing an answer paper and desired result in my mind is I would clear the examination. That is why I am writing the answer paper. You are preparing for the banking examinations. You are preparing for the SSC examinations. What is the desired effect? That desired effect is you are needing or you are dreaming of your dream job. Or I would say a stable job, right? So this is desired effect. And this desired effect, when shown in any statement, that statement's assumptions are based on these effects only. That means assumptions can be counted for three kinds, or we can say assumptions can be probable, definite or desired effect based. Clear with it? Now moving further, word used in options. Whenever we see questions would be in banking examination also and in SSC examination also, right? Now these questions would be led by options. If we talk about first of all banking exams, RBI, RRB, IBPS, SBI, any examination, insurance part if we talk about, which is on the banking base only. So the option strategy, option criteria demands 5 options. And if we talk about SSC, Staff Selection Commission, CGL, Combined Graduate Level, or CHS, Combined High School Level, they demand or they provide us 4 options. So numbers are different actually, 5 or 4, but the word used in options is implicit. Now what do you mean by implicit? IMPLICIT. This spelling. It can be a vocabulary word also for you all. So word used in options is implicit, and first of all we will look over its meaning only, because knowing meaning will only lead us to a complete and sensible assumption. How we are marking the options? Why we are marking the options? Because see, in this subject reasoning, basically options plays a very important role. Whether it is the topic syllogism, whether it is the topic inequality, whether it is the topic assumptions or whatsoever. Options are very much important to understand, because this whole section is depending on your understanding only. So we have to look over the meaning of implicit. And as you can look on the screen also, meaning of implicit is suggested thought. Now somewhat thinking or thought process would be clear in your mind. Whatever I am saying, if I say assumption 1 implicit. That means by this frame of sentence or by this frame of part, I am not declaring this is a clear fixed assumption. I am saying this can be an assumption. This may be the speaker's thought. Getting my point? So this implicit word stands for I am suggesting basically what the speaker or what the action performer's thought or thinking process was there to let behind or to lay a statement for you all. Clear? Moving further with that. Now standard option strategy if we look upon. The option strategies can be fluctuated. This is not the fixed one. Why it is not the fixed one? Because assumptions can be 2, assumptions can be 3, 4, anything, and then their option strategy will be like that only. But if we look over here, this is basically what the standard option strategy for these questions are. Only 1 is implicit, only 2 is implicit, either 1 or 2 is implicit, neither 1 nor 2 is implicit, both 1 and 2 are implicit. Option 1 to 5. These are basically the strategies for banking examination. If we look up on the SSC part eliminates one option, and yes, that option is either one. Leaving the either option, all the 4 options are seen for the SSC examinations option strategy. Right? So basic conclusion, or I would say basic revision part for this topic or leading with the topic is, you have to remember for the topic statement and assumption, we are considering ourselves as a speaker or an action performer. Why so? Because here you are not leading your thought. You are catching the speaker's thought. Right? Moving further with that, now the points to remember, because we'll be attempting some questions also. I'll be giving you few examples also, so that the points which I have told earlier and which I am telling you now can be recalled and remembered by you all. But before that, 2-3 points, or I would say the points to remember part which you have to keep in mind. See, many places we find learn this, put this word there. Or I would say कि if you place or jumble these words, then the answer would be correct. Don't do that. Because statement and assumption topic is a logical reasoning part, and logical reasoning demands your mental ability actually. So you have to think practically. If you are thinking practically, your answers will be accurate. I would not say right or wrong. Be very clear with it, because we never declared something right or wrong. Either we declare follow, does not follow, either we declare true or false, or accurate or does not accurate, that kind of. So here your accuracy will raise if your logical brain, current affairs part, reading ability is very much strong. Because this is only required for logical part. And statement and assumptions, when you are dealing with somebody else's mind, you are not dealing with your mind. Be very careful. You have to think what is there in my mind. So you have to be logically strong. So let's look over the points to remember part. Let's see the first point. Assumptions implicit will always show positivity. Very interesting and very true point, I would say. Assumptions implicit will always show positivity. What does this mean? Positivity. Now see, you are watching my video. I am delivering a lecture on statement and assumption. What is the thought behind? Thought behind my delivery is, I would be thinking, you are watching. Yes. Same way, if we take an example for market, vegetable purchasing and all, everything. If I go to a vegetable seller and I ask for tomatoes, I ask to the vegetable seller, what is the cost of this tomato? What is there in my mind? I would be thinking to purchase the tomato. This the vegetables seller would be thinking, right? But it can be my fun time also. I am irritating that vegetable seller by asking the price, but I don't want to purchase that tomatoes. Getting my point? Thought can be positive, thought can be negative. And definitely it is always like that only. You never think positive about a person, but you pretend positive about a person. Controversial statement, but it is a fact actually. You never, or I would say often, this is actually a correct word, often. You often think bad about a person, but you pretend the positivity. Because we know for doing any work, for getting any work done, we cannot be led by negative thoughts. We cannot be led by negativities. Because negative approach never deals with any result. Negative approach never leads us to the conclusion or solution part. So this is actually what the point is. Assumptions has to be positive. If they are not positive, then they are controversial. And when they are controversial, they will not lead to any conclusion, result, solution. So whenever they will not be dealing to anything, then what is the use of that? So for that only, you have to remember assumptions implicit will always show positivity. Clear? Moving with the second point. Use of definite words. Now use of definite words like all, each, only, every, none, never, can never, definitely makes assumption not implicit. What does this mean now? If you find these words in any assumptions, I am taking all approach, I am taking none approach, I am declaring definitely this is the approach. So these assumptions will not implicit, because definite properties are not demanded over here. Whole this topic is on mind, is on your thoughts, on speaker's thought, right? So if it is all about speaker's thought, if it is all about the thought process only, then how can we let these words to be the definite part? And how can we stick to it? We will be definiting the part and we will be definitely declaring. We will not. So if these definite words are used in any assumptions or found in any assumptions, this would not be implicit. Clear with it? Third point. General to specific and specific to general assumptions will not implicit. That means a board at any theatre. We go to watch movies. Frequent or often, that is your wish, right? The thing is, if I am talking about a theatre hall or a screen or a plex where we have gone to watch a movie. Now there we see an exit board, right? Now that exit board does not demands or does not speaks that this is the male exit or a female exit. General exit for everybody. So if for that general exit, I would say females would not be exited from this part, or females will not use this exit door. So am I correct? No, because it wasn't declared. Same way specific to general assumptions. In the public bus, I would say, it is written over there, seats reserved for ladies. So this is basically a general statement, fixed part which is showing specifically to that part. Now the seats reserved for ladies, if we say nobody can sit over there, that is not the point, because ladies can avail that seats. So general to specific and specific to general leads to that their assumptions will not be implicit, because when we are giving any general, any common statement, specific assumptions does not implicit, and specifically given to any part and generally assumptions are taken, that will not implicit. Clear? Now the fourth point, interesting, use of either option. And as you can see, question marks led behind. So what does this mean? I would be telling you all the use of either option or not. So for this session, actually, if I reveal, I am not discussing the either option with you all. This would be led, or I would say this would be continued in the next session. In the next session of statement and assumptions part, or I would say logical reasonings assumptions part, I would be discussing these either option usage, whether it has to be used or not. So the 3 points which you have to remember for today is assumptions implicit will always show positivity. Secondly, use of definite words like all, each, only, every, none, never, can never definitely makes assumptions not implicit. And the third part, general to specific and specific to general assumptions will also not implicit. So these 3 points would have to be kept in your minds. Right with that? Moving further, taking an example. But before attempting an example, I would be revising you the points. I would be giving you the points again so that you can attempt this question with me also. First part, statement can be anything, right? Assumptions are to be taken by the speakers or action performers context. That means you don't have to use your brain for yourself. You have to imagine yourself. Now here comes the word imagination. You have to imagine yourself as a speaker or as an action performer, whether it is anybody, because I would say candidates, this is the very interesting topic where you can be anything sitting on your chair. That means you can think yourself, imagine yourself as a monument also. Yes, buildings never speak, but imagination speaks. You can imagine yourself as president, prime minister of any of your favorite country, or I would say India. Yes, we can imagine. So if we consider ourselves to their positions, wherever we are dealing with some problems, you are facing any problem with me, imagine yourself at my part. I am facing any problem with you all, I'll imagine at your part. So this makes actually clarity. And candidates, this is only the demand in the examinations from the board part, that they want to check or judge whether we are logically strong or not. Correct with it? Assumptions would be using the option strategy as implicit part, right? Because we are suggesting the thoughts. We are just not claiming, yes, this is only an assumption. No. We are suggesting speaker's thought. So we would be using the word what? Implicit. Correct? Now let's look over an example. Now here the example statement suggests us or gives us statement, because statement delivers, suggesting would be done in the assumption part, right? So here the statement gives us or delivers us the point, apex body controlling universities in the country has decided to revise the syllabus of all the technical courses to make them focus towards the present needs of the industry, thereby making the technical graduates more employable than they are at present. So the statement is from the apex body controlling universities. That means some higher authority is declaring or giving a statement to us. The country has decided to revise the syllabus of all the technical courses to make them focus towards the present needs of the industry, thereby making the technical graduates more employable than they are at present. Now what does this mean over here? This is actually they are designing a change pattern for the technical syllabus. Clear? So you have to imagine yourself as, yes, the apex body that is controlling the universities. You have to keep yourself at that place. Right? Now looking over the assumptions. First assumption. Technical colleges affiliated to different universities may not welcome the apex body's decision and may continue with the same syllabus as at present. Implicit or not? Definitely does not implicit, because as I have said, assumptions has to show positivity, right? And here we are getting a negative impact or negative emphasis of the statement, where I would say they are thinking, or the thought presented over to us is that they might not be welcoming with this thought. So no, every work done has to be with a positive thought. So here this assumption would not be implicit for the above given statement. Right? Now looking over to the second part. Industry may welcome the decision of the apex body and scale up their hiring from these colleges. Now this can be considered. Yes, can be considered, and if can be considered, so would I am wrong taking it as an implicit assumption? Am I wrong? Yes or no? No, because implicit word itself declares, implicit word itself demands the suggested thought part. So if I am suggesting, it can be a thought of the apex body, so I am not wrong actually. And this can be considered. So I would say assumption 1 and assumption 2. Assumption number 2 is implicit for the very given this statement from the apex body controlling the universities. Right? Moving with the next example. Do not enter. Avoid the risk of getting infected with the ABC disease written outside the quarantine ward number 2. Meant only for ABC disease of a hospital. Do not enter, avoid the risk of getting infected with the ABC disease. And these semicolons, what do they process to you all? A definite condition, they are giving you an instruction. Right? So do not enter, avoid the risk of getting infected with the ABC disease written outside the quarantine ward number 2. Meant only for ABC disease given in the bracket part. This also claims some sense over here. Now this is an instruction, notice, or I would say information for you all written in an hospital outside ward number 2. What was in the mind to keep this statement over there, or to keep this notice or information over there, or to provide you all with this notice? Assumption number 1. Disease ABC is contagious. Yes, definitely. It might be contagious. That is why hospital management is not letting you or not wanting you to enter that ward. Right? Second, all the patients in ward number 2 suffer from disease ABC. Now don't you think this is actually claiming the definite assumption? Yes, because in this statement it was mentioned in the bracket meant for only ABC disease for ward number 2. That means it can be claimed as definite assumption. So assumption number 2 is already implicited, or I would say assumption number 2 is implicit for this statement. Right? Now talking about the first one, whether the first one is implicit or not. So if I would say disease ABC is contagious, so yes, this also implicits because probability is shown over here. So for this part basically assumption number 1 and assumption number 2 both are implicit. Right? So it could be taken with an example also. See now, if I take a basic example, I have a board outside my home. Beware of dogs. Why I am having that board outside my home? First, dogs may bite you all. Right? Second, I am having a dog at my home. That is why I am using that board. That means if we correlate this practical example, see, you have to relate everything practically, because if you are not relating anything practically, you are not making you able to solve the logical questions. So looking over this statement which I have given only all on the screen, do not enter one. Both the assumptions are basically implicit for the thought. Right? Moving further with that. Now see, these two statements which I have taken was actually a bank-based statement. As in the starting only I have told you all, this topic is basically exclusively for banking and SSC both, and question approach is actually similar for both the topics, for both the exams. There is no such difference. For banking we'll do it like this, for SSC we'll doing like that. We have to do it like this for banking also and like this for SSC also. That means the thinking process, the attempting process has to be same for both. But then what is the difference between the examinations part? So difference actually is the formation of statements. Formation of statement means in banking examination and in SSC examinations, slight difference has been seen. In banking examinations, somewhat an instruction part, information part, that means current or practical or social knowledge is targeted, and in SSC part, a quotation can also be given for you all to think what was the assumption for this quotation. Yeah, what does the speaker thought before declaring or before claiming this statement. So this is only the slight difference actually. So if we look upon the next statement, this kind of statement can be seen in the SSC examinations. Statement given to you all is, if he is intelligent, he will pass the examination. If he is intelligent, he will pass the examination. That means, yes, I am giving you an information from this. If he is intelligent, he will pass the examination. Assumption number 1. To clear the examination, he should be intelligent. To clear the examination, he should be intelligent. Yes. Second one declares, he will pass the examination. How and why? Because in the statement, it was just mentioned, if he is intelligent, he will pass the examination. And in assumption 1, which was making a relation sense to it, to clear the examination, he should be intelligent, can be declared, or we can say this could be our implicit assumption. But if we talk about the second one, where it is declaring clearly, he will pass the examination, so how can we make us sure for this? So second assumption will not be implicit over here, and first one will be the implicit assumption for the statement provided. So candidates, just you have to pay attention over here is, statement formed for the examination of banking and SSC are different, but the question asked are same, process is same, attempting question is same. Don't run from these questions, because these questions are actually very interesting. Because if I talk about a human tendency, so we are very good at thinking. We love to think actually. Daydreaming? No, I am not talking about daydreaming. Thinking means imagination, dreaming of what I want to be, or thinking about any situation. So we are very good at that part. So please don't run from these topics, because these are demanding actually what you are doing practically. So just stick over your thoughts, that thoughts has to be processed publicly. So selflessly you have to present your thought. And candidates, just pay attention to this point. If you once start thinking logically, practically, this section will become interesting. This question will become interesting, and definitely it will lead to you a positive result, positive conclusion, and that whatever you are demanding, right? So statement and assumptions, somewhat part I have discussed with you all today. 3 examples I have given you all, 2 I would say bank based, and 1 this last one. It can be formed in SSC examinations. That means formation. If I would say, once I'll recall you all with that. Statement number 1, apex body controlling universities. That means a literal, we can say, logical condition was given to you all. Then in the second one, a declaration, information, notice part was given to you all, which can be asked for the banking purpose. And this here, a common general statement, ki if he is intelligent, he will pass the examination. This type of question can be formed in SSC. Right? In next session, do join us, because in that session we would be discussing the either or part with you all. Either or usage, whether it has to be used or not. Tricky part and mysterious question for you all, which I am leaving this today by the ending of this session. Do not forget to subscribe our channel, because this subscription only will make you avail the next video delivered for statement and assumptions, either complexity. Like our video, comment duly on our video, because your comments make us to do more and more better, and we would be improving with the part with your suggestions. So do suggest in that comment part. Don't forget to share our video also, because sharing our video will enhance your knowledge. As we say, how much we spread our knowledge, it gains. We gains actually if we spread very much. So don't forget to share the video. Subscription part is very much important. MahendraGuru.com's official YouTube channel, if you want to avail it now and from on, do the subscription part. With this, I end up the session by saying, your success is our success. Thank you.